The 2015 Saints have retooled and refocused, primed to climb back on top of the NFC South.
Winning is a habit, and you gotta earn it.
After 3.5 weeks in West Virginia, the Saints are finally back home. And as usual, Who Dat Nation, we know they're going to be in midseason form. From the Mercedes-Benz Superdome, the Saints get ready to match up with the Super Bowl champions, the New England Patriots. Hi, everybody. I'm Joel Myers alongside John Stinchcomb, Sean Kelly, and welcome to the Superdome. Preseason game number 2 last week in Baltimore. In game number 1, it was the backups at the quarterback spot. Different story tonight. We are going to take center stage with 2 future Hall of Famers, Drew Brees matching up with Tom Brady, at least at the start of the game.
What more could you want? You got Tom Brady coming off a world championship in town against Drew Brees. The first time the Who Dat Nation gets to see number 9 under center in 2015 is tonight, and there's a reason why the New Orleans Saints have been able to finish at the top of the offensive heap in the NFL for the past decade, and his name is Drew Brees. He's back under center tonight. Expect to see that crisp offense. The way he manages a game is second to none, and it's going to be exciting to watch.
Yeah, a lot of fun for all of us going into the matchup tonight. Biggest story in camp, though, don't forget, is who is going to back up Drew Brees. And it's really been good competition at camp between Luke McCowan as well as Ryan Griffin.
And it's gotten to be a much even more interesting watch here, Joe, in the last 10 days. Dating back to the Baltimore game where both guys played and both guys had solid numbers. But perhaps Griffin's numbers and performance sizzled a little bit more, especially the way he performed in the 2-minute offense at the end of the first half, resulting in a score for the New Orleans Saints. He's built upon that performance in the last week. He's playing with a lot of confidence here in his 3rd training camp, his 2nd full offseason. His comfort level at the line is tremendous. He's getting in and out of the huddle and playing with that confidence. Luke McCown, of course, the incumbent backup, for good reason. He plays younger than his 34 years of age. He's probably more mobile than Ryan Griffin, but the similarities between the two are getting closer and closer. The Saints, Joel, are looking at a very tough decision coming up here, as both guys have now really stepped up their game heading into the 2nd preseason game.
When it comes to putting pressure on the quarterback, at least at the outset of the season, it's going to be by committee, but hopefully we're going to see more heat on Brady and the Patriots quarterbacks than we saw in preseason game number 1, and especially from Cam Jordan.
Well, Cam Jordan, there's a reason why he's one of the highest paid defensive ends in the league. He's very productive against the run game and getting after the passer, but he cannot do it alone. Gone is Junior Gillette. Who is going to be able to step up and fill the pass rushing shoes that remain? It's yet to be determined, and tonight's a great opportunity for one of the young players to put his name in the hat as somebody they can rely on.
Well, it's good to be home at the Dome, and we are ready to go. Brady and Brees as the Patriots match up with the Saints, and it's up next on the Saints Raycom Television Network.
Iron sharpens iron. I mean, we have a chance to practice against the defending world champions, and I know that that's going to get us better, and I know that they have the same mentality going against us.
It meant a lot to Drew Brees, as well as the rest of the Saints. It was 2 productive days of joint practices with the Super Bowl champion Patriots. And as tackle Zach Streep said, it was beneficial for both teams. With more, let's join John DeShazer.
Now, Joel, this offseason, we've talked a ton about wide receiver Brandon Coleman, and with great reason. He has emerged as the number 3 receiver for the Saints right now, and he's going to be just about impossible to miss on the field. 6'6", 225 pounds. Coach Sean Payton says the Saints love his catch radius, and the Saints are going to need him this season behind Brandon Cooks and Marcus Colston, as he is one of the guys who's going to provide for this offense some of the production that is missed by Jimmy Graham, by Lance Moore, by Robert Meacham. Right now, He seems to be ready for the task. He's catching everything in the training camp and preseason. Right now, he's going to get his chance tonight. Didn't get a ton of snaps against the Ravens, but he'll play extensive tonight, and we think he's ready for the job. Joel?
All right, JD, thank you. And Sean Payton, real pleased with what went on in West Virginia. In fact, he said last season it really doesn't make him lose confidence in himself as a coach, but anytime you get hit in the mouth, it fuels your fire. And they didn't do a lot of things, as he admitted last year. Picked up a lot of penalties last season. Now they have to clean that up in preseason game number 2 as well. That'll be an area of concentration after 16 flags last week. So 2 guys that know each other very well, Sean Payton and Bill Belichick. And what a run it has been for Belichick. I mean, the dominance, maybe the Boston Celtics of the 50s and 60s you could compare, because that's how good it has been for Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots. 12-4 last year, 5th consecutive year they've won at least 12 games. So the defending Super Bowl champions looking for their first preseason win, just like the Saints. Patriots lost their preseason opener last week at home. They got beat by the Chiefs 22-11. Saints losing by 3. Encouraging signs, though, over the last 3 quarters of play for the Saints. And we're going to talk about the battle of the backup kickers, or the kickers for the job. Dustin Hopkins, Zach Hocker. As Hopkins had the duties in the first half, Hocker in the second half, and both showed well. Devlin is going back deep, along with Chris Harper. So New England is going to receive, started, as Harper is the rookie on the far side from Cal. Hopkins gets into it. It'll be about 5 yards into the end zone, and it's going to be Chris Harper, the rookie out of California, bringing it back. Good penetration and a return of just about the 20-yard line. So future Hall of Famer, a 3-time Super Bowl MVP, a 10-time Pro Bowler. And will he start the regular season? Something that's obviously a hot topic around New England. Tom Brady, we know one thing. He is starting tonight for the New England Patriots here at the Dome. The amazing numbers that go along with it. How about the touchdown and interception ratio? Amazing. So here we go. First units out there, but don't forget, when we set things defensively, it's a backup secondary group for the Saints. LeGarrette Blount is the single to the backfield. Man, great penetration off the edge. Nothing doing on that side. Kikaha right away making his presence felt.
A little nicked up earlier in the week, but did get some practice time against these Patriots on Wednesday and Thursday, Joel, and he continues to progress here in his first NFL training camp.
So Kikaha on one side, we talked about, and Sean talked about him down to the sideline. And that's Stephon Anthony, the inside linebacker, who's been phenomenal during camp. The camp and the regular season is a totally different story. Blount, the big back out of Oregon, stays in the backfield in his 6th year, and I say big, he's 250 pounds. Guy at quarterback for the New England Patriots. He's turned out okay for a 6th-round pick in 2000, hasn't he? 199th overall.
Not bad. Not bad for the 199th pick in a draft.
He's probably going to make the team, I think.
It'll be his 16th year out of Michigan. So 10 out of the first 15, he has been a Pro Bowler. All he has is a 21-8 playoff record. So Brady, his 2nd series, and is it his last series? He's got it at the 20. Runs Gibson in motion. Brandon Gibson. Blount looking for anything. Maybe 3 up to the 23, but it is rare when we get to see guys like this. A 36-year-old Brady turning 38 during this preseason. Rare when we get these kind of matchups in the preseason.
It's been fantastic, and not to mention we got to see the 2 of them in practice together and watch their practice routines on Wednesday and Thursday. That's something we never really get to see either.
Ultimate professionals, both of them. The way they conduct their teams and lead is second to none.
His speed back is in. As they bring in Dion Lewis in his 4th year out of Pittsburgh. Little guy trying to get lost in there at 5'8", 195. And they're going to be shy of the first down by about 3. So they've got Jonas Gray as well. We'll see him running back out of Notre Dame. The guy that at times last year was productive. In fact, he had a 200-yard game for New England last year. Lewis, a 5th-round pick. of the Eagles in 2011 stays. This is single in the backfield. Amendola, the motion man, former Red Raider out of Texas Tech. And it'll be a trip and no flag. Just got all tangled up. And from behind, it was Damian Swan, the rookie out of Georgia, 5th-round pick. Did enough, didn't he, I guess?
He did. You're looking at the slot receiver right there. He undercuts the route. Feet get tangled a little bit. Rob Ryan's fired up about it. He's ready for 2 3-and-outs for this defense back-to-back.
Marcus Murphy waiting for his second consecutive off the foot of Ryan Allen. Guy the Louisiana Tech. And another good one. More returnable type, though. And Murphy, will they get a block over to the left side? Gets at least one. Man out of bounds. Good field position. Takes it for about 8 up to the 38-yard line. So will Drew Brees be back out there? We'll find out when we come back. With the Saints up by 3. Good to see my tickets were used tonight. Keys to the game all brought to you by Orange Beach. It is a whole different state. John?
Well, you look at the keys to the game. Number 1, right out of the gate, start fast for the defense. 2 3-and-outs for the offense. Drew Brees under helm, marches down the field. Coleman's able to pull the ball in. They get a touchdown. They're starting fast. Went on 3rd down. Defense is out. 2 3-and-outs already. And the offense is on a roll.
Yeah, and cut down the penalties. That's the laundry. 16 penalties, 143 yards last week. Coach Payton said that's got to go away, and I'll tell you how he went about doing that in a moment, Joel.
Good awareness. Kyrie Robinson is chopped down. It looked like it was going to be a big game, but Malcolm Butler off the edge, the quarterback out of West Alabama, a guy in the starting lineup that wasn't drafted last year, but saw plenty of time for them last season. Played in 11 games, holted to only 3 yards.
And Joe, in that game against Baltimore with all those penalties, right after the game, Sean Payton told Jason Mitchell of his staff, he said, look, I want officiating crews on the field the next 2 practices. They brought in college football officials for those 2 practices, and it seems to have paid off.
Well set up screen. And Kyrie Robinson making the most of it. He was trying to get around the big guard, Jari Evans. He can block out the sun. Man, oh man. Which way do I go? Well, I can't see either side.
It's so good because the Saints are so proficient in this screen game. You got Jari Evans, Unger on the cut block. Kyrie's trying to set up his lineman. Does a great job of staying behind Jari Evans in the block. You even see Tim Lolito, the backside guard, 20 yards downfield.
4 of 6 to start the game for Brees. Slant, it's Cooks. He makes a miss. Boy, get him the ball in space. I like it. And you know, Randy Moss was at practice, and Randy Moss says, this guy is very good now, and he will be great, and I concur completely.
Wow, that's a heck of a compliment from a superstar. One thing Brandon Cooks is really honed in on is his route running. He's had plenty of time this offseason to work with some real veterans and Steve Smith, and you can see he's just such a dynamic playmaker.
So Brees finds a receiver. Kyrie Robinson finds a hole that closes in a hurry up the middle. A gain of a yard, yard and a half at the most. So these two teams getting together after really competitive practices. And Sean, you were there to see it. And you know what? 2 professional coaches, systems, and no fights included. Thank you.
Well, it bucked the trend that we've seen this preseason, and I thought it proved a perfect atmosphere for growth on both sides. I think players and coaches alike took a lot away from those 2 days at camp, and maybe you look back and say that was a pretty significant moment in time for training camp this year.
Cooks on the reverse. Get him some touches. He's got it a yard shy of the first down as he took a pop from Malcolm Butler. So that's a pretty good hit from a little guy out of the secondary.
Well, and you can see the Saints, what they're trying to do is find many different ways to get Brandon Cooks the ball. What you don't see coming is that inside-out blast from the safety that Hill runs right past. He's leading the way, but missed that one.
He looked like he got up and he says, I can run the 40 that fast too. Because he ran a long way to get there. Now it'll be a first down. So Johnson's got it. Austin Johnson. And that's a dilemma too, because you got 2 really good fullbacks in Lorig and Johnson. Both can stick with most teams as a starter.
Yeah, now you get into the conversation about fullbacks and tight ends, and what's the right combination as far as numbers go in constructing your 53-man roster.
This drive started back at the Saints 38. They got points out of the first one that started back at their own 30. And on the 9th play of that drive, they got a 27-yard field goal by Hopkins. So real efficient. With Drew Brees at the controls once again. Ingram sets up in the eye. Makes a miss. Nice spin by Ingram. Maximized that, didn't he? Gets about 3.
Great cut. His vision is what's amazed me these past couple of years. The way he sees holes, the way he's setting up blocks, you can tell that he was playing at a high level. Obviously, he went to the Pro Bowl and was finally recognized for the player he's become, but he's becoming more dynamic in what he offers this offense.
So Ingram over to the sideline after the game. 3 on 2nd and 7. Inside of 5 to play in the opening 15. And the Saints have controlled the football. Check at the line. Spread the defense on 2nd and 7. Middle's open. Touchdown. Benjamin Watson.
Number 9 at its finest. That's Drew Brees. The way he conducts the offense. It's designed for him. He knows exactly what he's looking for. He makes the check in routes. And now we're going to see a 2-point conversion or so it looks for the first time. But he checks the route. He sees what he likes. He gets the ball to Ben Watson. And it looks like a routine, easy touchdown.
Watson and his wife celebrated the birth of their 5th child last weekend, even Mariah, and then he missed a day or 2 of practice, came back, and that play right there, Joel, was indicative of how he looked against the Patriots in red zone work on Wednesday and Thursday.
Well, and they have 2 tight ends who can catch it efficiently. Yep. Ben Watson and Josh Hill. Now, Saints go for 2. Patriots, they were successful in a 2-point conversion last week. And Kyrie Robinson, will he get there? I don't believe so, no. So it'll stay a 9-point lead on a beautiful dart from Drew Brees. He's got Ben Watson, and the Saints are up on the Patriots by 9. Tonight's game brought to you in part by Cox. Only Cox gives you super fast internet speeds, fastest in-home Wi-Fi for the best football experience at home. Welcome back to the Big Easy as we're in the Dome tonight. First preseason home game for the Saints. They're going to be at home next week, and that's going to be on Fox. So that will not be on our Fox Raycom network, but just Fox. And they're stealing game 3, where the starters are going to be most of the first half. But we already like what we see from Drew Brees in the first-team offense. Brees, by the way, 6 for 8, 96 yards, and he really should have 2 touchdowns. Coleman couldn't hang on to the first one. Yeah, what a kick by Hopkins. That's well out of the end zone. That'll do wonders for your kick coverage. So the Patriots look for their first down of the contest on their 3rd possession when we come back to New Orleans. First week at Baltimore, first 2 drives, 6 for 11. Now, Drew Brees doesn't make any difference at all, does he? 17 for 123 with 8 first downs and 9 points on the board. And welcome back to New Orleans once again. Well, there was speculation there was a knee injury for Akeem Hicks. Good to see him out there in the lineup tonight.
When he got hurt, quote unquote, he walked off the field under his own power. I don't think it was as serious as maybe was reported by some.
It'll be 1st and 10 for the Patriots. 3rd time they've had it, and the 3rd consecutive time they started at their own 20. Brady stays in there at quarterback. Right away, changing things at the line. With counter action, Blunt, he won't get out of the backfield. Good penetration off the edge. We talked about Jordan getting heat on the quarterback. That time, penetration on the running back.
Great penetration by Cam Jordan. Shuts down the play. There's nowhere for them to go. He just beats the block of the tight end who's chipping up to the linebacker. And then the right tackle isn't able to get leverage. Forces the play back. There's nowhere for Blunt to go. Great job, Cam Jordan.
You know, you talked about Hicks. Jordan and Hicks and John Jenkins have their own little version of extreme makeover weight loss this offseason. They're all playing faster.
Speedback is in there, Dion Lewis. And I thought there'd be a dump off. That's exactly the case. They've got him corralled, but he still takes it across the 20. As was pinching him in with Swan. Stanley Jean-Baptiste over there as well, but Swan put him inside. That's a gain to the 22.
Jordan and Hicks both dropped about 14 pounds from where they played last year. Jenkins lost 35 pounds from the end of OTAs to the start of training camp.
Healthy situation, challenging each other, motivating each other. Danny Amendola, speed, slot guy in motion. Brady's got time and well timed. How about that for arriving at the perfect time? The big hit from Kyle Wilson. Amendola, great hands, but he couldn't get that one.
Well, much was made about this secondary and not having many of the starters. You look at Kyle Wilson right here. He diagnoses the route, makes a jump on it, and makes contact right as the ball gets to the receiver.
Allen punch it away. It'll be Murphy with a little space, looking for a block over to the left side. Makes a miss, still on his feet. See, every time he touches it, you feel like there's a chance, and that's what you want. And he's not a big guy to begin with. What, about 5'9", 5'10" at the most?
Well, we haven't had a returner like this, really, I guess, in Sproles, John. You know, as far as that, anytime he touches it, you never know what might happen. I think he's so far out in front right now as far as winning a return man job. Jalen Saunders may get some tonight, but Saunders being hurt really allowed Murphy to pull ahead in the way that he courageously returned the ball, especially out of the end zone last week at Baltimore, and he's just continued that here with these punt returns.
So 27 yards on 3 returns for Marcus Murphy after that one. It's going to be Mark Ingram. And belted immediately. Good penetration. Defensively, it was picked up right away by Jabal Sheard. No gain on the carry. In fact, almost a loss of a yard. Well, Drew Brees stays on the field for the 3rd consecutive series as we wind our way down inside of 3 minutes left in the first 15 minutes of play. But boy, the story right now is the Saints defense as good as the offense is. Tom Brady at quarterback and 3 possessions with 3 and out. On the turn-in route, Brandon Cooks again. Well, you know, I'd be surprised if he's healthy and he plays 16 games. I'd really be surprised if he doesn't come close to 100 catches this year. It's
such an exciting combination. Drew Brees to Brandon Cooks. The way he can find holes in this defense, and now you've got a dynamic playmaker in Cooks. Just get him the ball, and he's able to do so much with it.
You know, get back to that thought as they set up Johnson in the backfield on a play fake. A lot of time. Deep ball's available. So is Brandon Cooks. Touchdown, Saints.
When the Saints get to the half mark, if they're around the 50-yard line, boy, they like taking shots. This play is designed on play action. It looks like Mark Ingram. He sets up almost right behind that right guard, but it's a double move. Brandon Cooks breaks outside, then he goes right over top of the safety. And if he's got one thing, he's got great speed. It's one of the things. He's a dynamic player. You said it again, but setting up for a 2-point conversion again. This is one of those new wrinkles where, you know, moving the field goal back. I wouldn't be surprised to see this in the regular season where we see a lot more teams going for 2.
Yeah, but it's good to experiment. This is the time to do it, to find out what works, what doesn't work. They've already tried Kyrie Robinson inside after they spread the D. This is a good idea, and that's what Belichick did last week, even in the loss to the Kansas City Chiefs.
You're exactly right. Now is the time to explore what you want to do with your 2-point conversions. Is it worth taking those risks? There's not a lot at stake, wins and losses wise, in the preseason, but you definitely want to see what you got down here in this situation.
Ingram is the single. And back in the end zone, off the fingertips of Colston. So good throw and a rare drop on a good ball by Marcus Colston.
You can see the frustration on his face. Punch the wall. Another ball that Drew puts in a place for the receiver to make a play. Colston has the jump on the defensive back and just isn't able to bring it in. You don't see that a lot out of Colston.
No, and it looked like the timing of the ball arriving was like in that half step. If he takes one more half step, his hands are back up to where they need to be.
Our sideline report all brought to you by Visit Baton Rouge. As we check in with John DeShazer. JD.
Well, Joel, they want to get those shot plays, the Saints, when they're around midfield. Brandon Cook's the perfect guy. If you talk to him this week, when they went through those joint practices, he likes working against New England's DBs. One reason, they're smaller than the Saints DBs. Brandon Browner and Keenan Lewis have had their hands all over him in training camp. They've been extremely physical. He said going against shifty guys allows him to work a little bit more on his craft, and we saw it right there. He made a couple of plays, able to get on top of that defense because these guys are not quite as physical as Brandon Browner and Keenan Lewis, Joel.
Yeah, big D-backs that John's talking about. Real big D-backs.
Yep, and the Saints have an answer for that. They've got Coleman and Colston, who, if they're 6'4", then, what's Brandon Cooks? He's
5'10".
right. Yeah. So I'm sure he does look for those opportunities to play against the shiftier DBs.
Well, we saw the high deep one. Now we see the line drive deep one from Hodgkins. So he used the 1-iron on that kickoff. It still was efficient. And we talked about what happened last week at a slow start for the Saints. Well, you wanted a super fast start, John. They got a super fast start. Well, Drew Brees had the controls.
Field goal, touchdown, touchdown. You couldn't draw it up much better for the Saints. And especially on defense, they were able to get the ball back and put it in the hands of Drew Brees, something that they struggled with a little bit last year and last week. So I think a lot of the credit goes to the defense, a group that isn't featuring at least 4 of the starters that are projected for a regular season.
Tom Brady is through for the night, and the first thing that Jimmy Garoppolo does is call a timeout. So it'll be a timeout for New England with a minute 50 to play in the first quarter. Garoppolo in his second year out of Eastern Illinois, a second-round pick last year, and the personnel department has been so good for so long for the New England Patriots that you have to believe when they take the quarterback second round, they're looking at down the road behind Tom Brady.
They obviously saw something they liked. You're not going to go for a guy that high in the draft knowing you have Tom Brady, but this is why you bring in a guy like that for situations where Brady's not available for whatever reason that might be, whether you agree with it or not. And in this situation, it's great rest for him. Now, throughout the week, Sean, you probably know more than the rest of us, but Brady had plenty of reps against the Saints defense.
Especially on Thursday. He took all the reps. That's why I was a little surprised he went as long as he did tonight.
It's a 1st and 10 for the 20 on the play fake. Garoppolo, and it's punched away, but it's going to be a pass interference call, as it looked like the left hand of Stanley Jean-Baptiste was on the back of the wide receiver before he punched it away with the right hand. Let's see if it's a hold on a pass interference call. It would be the first penalty on either side.
Pass interference on the defense, number 23. The ball be placed at the spot of the foul. First down.
You got a one-on-one matchup with Jean-Baptiste right here. Maybe a little pull of the jersey. What's with the alignment of some of the officials, they see even the slightest tugs. Now, in regular season, is there more contact that gets less calls? Perhaps, but these refs get to get a couple practices in for this preseason, and they like to make sure that their throwing hands or these flags are operating properly.
Well, and also that'll slow you down every time. Come on. On your break, a guy is grabbing you from behind. But Rob Ryan, after what happened last week and all the penalties, that's the first after 16 last week. We had a lot of game left, but still has to be policed because they went 3 and out on 3 consecutive possessions against the Hall of Famer Tom Brady.
Rob Ryan, Dennis Allen, Sean Payton, they were all over the Saints defense on the practice field this past week, whether it be lining up right, breaking the huddle properly, all the little things they were sticklers about in practice.
That is the first down of the game for the Patriots. It comes by way of penalty, a 13-yard mark-off on the interference call.
Sean Payton yelled at his defense on Tuesday, I guess it was. He said, look, these penalties have been a pain in my butt. Now they're going to be a pain in yours.
So just a slight difference in total yards offensively. That's trying to set up the screen. It was well read, but a missed tackle. And running right past it was David Hawthorne. It looked like he was going to drop Dion Lewis. Kikaha got to him finally after a gain of about 7 up to the 40.
Well, great hustle play by Kikaha right here. He's the rush end. He's trying to get upfield, put pressure on the passer, recognizes that it's a screen, and gets back in on the play. You can see he's got a really high motor. In a lot of the pass situations so far this game, they've given him a chance to show what he can do against the left tackle.
Blunt takes over in the backfield on 2nd and 3 from the 40. 3. Yeah, will he even get 1? Yes. On the lead, he gets 2 out to the 42. So they stag it up right there. Working well against the run early in this game.
Well, this is just a straight power play. And you see the big boys down in the middle. Big Jenkins makes a play, stuffs it up, doesn't have much space to play with right there, and just tries to find a crease to get an extra yard. Now it's 3rd and short situation where, once again, this defense got an opportunity to get off the field.
2 tight ends set with 25 seconds left in the opening 15 minutes. Need a yard. And trying to dump it off for Blunt. Will he get there? Dives. He might have it by, yes. About the length of the football, it seems. So couldn't get to the running back. Made the contact.
Well, you make the contact right here, you got to wrap up. It's a cornerback on a big back like Blunt. You got to make that play and get off the field.
Sensational start, though, for Sean Payton and the Saints. Thanks to that guy. Makes just a little difference. Saints on top at the end of the first quarter, 15-0.
By 10 guys, 10 by.
Beautiful night to be in the Big Easy. And we remind you the scoreboard is sponsored by Rouse's. Rouse's Supermarkets, where you'll always find the best quality at the best price. We start the second 15 minutes of play, and welcome back once again. Joel Myers, John Stinchcomb, Sean Kelly, John DeShazer, and a cast of thousands here at the Dome. It's a good turnout for the first home preseason game for the Saints. They've got 15 on the board already in the first 15 minutes. Going to be Blunt, big back out of Oregon at 250. Boy, he's his own blocker, isn't he? Got about 5. Give him 4 on that. So up front doing a good job, and Blunt started last year, the 6th year out of Oregon. It was by committee, but did a good job as John Batiste made the stop. We'll also see a little bit later Traveris Cadet, who spent the last 3 seasons with the Saints.
Blunt's a hammer. You can see that yards after contact in his game, but for Saints fans, you got to be excited to see these interior 2 players. Kevin Williams, once he got left, and then John Jenkins right there,
yes,
both making a play for no gain.
Yeah, and Jenkins turns him in. Kikaha's there. I mean, that's really a good group effort.
Kikaha's got a motor. If we've seen nothing else, he's able to run down plays. But that's the seasoned vet. Williams cutting off the play, getting back in on the tackle. He's the one who created a situation for the rest of the D linemen to swarm for no gain.
Deion Lewis's speed back takes over on 3rd and about 5 with Garoppolo at quarterback. And the wide side will be a flag and a hold. Another penalty in the secondary. Swan gets it. He was all tangled up with Jonathan Krause, wide receiver out of Vanderbilt. And we saw that last week of the aggressive penalties in the secondary. Swan had a pick. Terrence Frederick had a pick. So they like their aggressiveness, but you can't grab it.
For some of these young guys, it's the experience of the routes. You see them. Once you get in the game and you start to feel where a receiver's trying to get to, as a young guy, it's almost a crutch. You try to reach out, you pull a little bit.
There were 2 fouls on the play, both on the same team. Prior to the pass, holding. Number 30 of the defense. That penalty is declined. While the ball's in the air, pass interference, number 30 of the defense. That penalty will be accepted. The ball will be placed at the spot of the foul, first down.
You know, one of the things that Damian Swann talked about this week is that as these young cornerbacks are trying to figure things out at this level, Damian pointed out, look, I can make contact in college football until the ball is in the air, not in the NFL. That's a big difference and adjustment that he's trying to make, especially playing in that aggressive Georgia defense.
Yeah, and they marked it off on Kenny Phillips, the safety who's trying to make the squad. Good battle with Warren Phillips. Taking it outside, Blunt. Can't break out of the tackle down low, and a good job by Stephon Anthony, and that's what we saw him do at Clemson.
Well, he's got great vision. He was able to diagnose that play and get into a place. There's a lot of moving bodies right there for a middle linebacker to navigate through, and he's able to get into a place to make the tackle.
So the first series for Garoppolo. It started back at his own 20, aided by a couple of penalties. About 2 minutes gone by here in the second quarter. And now down to the 36 of the Saints on second down. Flat at the snap. Man, one's going nowhere. So they stacked him up. Jordan was over there. And then it was Jerry Franklin cleaning up and ripping him from behind.
Legal formation, number 71 of the offense. 5-yard penalty. Keep second down.
Well, they got to mark it off then. Thank you. And did he decline it? There you go. It'll be third down. That's why they didn't mark it off. Sean Payton got it through that they didn't want to accept it. They let the play go on the. It was a procedure. It was a formation. So it's going to be third down and a long 7, almost 8. See if they can get some heat on Garoppolo. Loose in the backfield. And it's going to be the inside give. He won't go anywhere. Didn't fool the Saints, did it? Good job again by the defense.
You got Cam Jordan, and beside him are 3 rookies. You've got Tyler Davison, who makes the stop right there. Great penetration. You see him working right in the middle of your picture right there. You also have Barnes and Kikaha. So young players getting an opportunity to make plays, and they do on third down.
So a punting situation or a long field goal. What are we going to get? It is going to be a long field goal try for Gostkowski. He's at 87% of his 280 attempts. But this is going to be a 57-yarder. Going to get him on the board. And is, just pulled at the end. Boy, what a leg, though. He had the distance, and it barely hooked on Gostkowski, one of the best place kickers in the NFL at the last second. So still, the Saints by 15 and get it back when we return to the Dome. Stand by. Night is through for Drew Brees, but by the numbers you can see how efficient it was for Brees, and you could really say it would have been a third touchdown. Coleman had it in his hands, couldn't hang on. It was that good for the Saints' first team offense with their quarterback.
That's exactly what they wanted to do with Drew Brees coming back, is let's start fast. Let's get some rhythm and increase the pace of play, which you didn't see in week 1.
So now the battle begins for backup quarterback. It'll be Kyrie Robinson wheeling out to the left side and spinning for some good yardage on first down. Luke McCown has taken over in his 12th year at Louisiana Tech, from Louisiana Tech. And I bring it up because McCown and Griffin have put together a real competitive battle for the backup for Drew Brees.
No doubt about it. Now, 54 career games, 9 starts, 9 touchdown passes. That's a plus in that who do you trust thing. But as you mentioned, Griffin, especially last week against Baltimore, maybe made this a much harder decision for the Saints.
McCown, ton of time. And the dump off. Watson's got it. Won't get the first down marker. Good play in the open field by Patrick Chung, the safety. It is 7th year out of Oregon. So it'll be third down. And Griffin made plays. Bottom line, he made plays. He had a great 2-minute drive as well.
Yes, that was the highlight, certainly. And to get thrown into the fire that quickly in his outing, I think also talked about his confidence and composure right now as well.
Ingram into the backfield. As they send Coleman. And now Watson taking off just a little early.
Boy, an explosive first step there, Joe.
It's the preseason.
False start, number 82 of the offense. 5-yard penalty, remains third down.
John, is that a different cadence, different quarterback, different voice? Something to do with it?
Well, I'll say this. If you're going to make a mistake, make it full speed. And he did that exceptionally well.
He's out of the blocks. So now, instead of 3rd and 2, make it 3rd and 7. Ton of time for the count. And a little bit behind Watson. Hot. Boy, showed arm strength. But Watson thought it was coming outside of the boundary.
Yeah, well, the first 3 and out for the Saints. A little miscue with a penalty, and then just missed right there. Not able to connect with Watson on a ball that potentially could have moved the chain. So you can see there's a distinct change when Drew Brees is not in the game. Surprise, surprise.
Morstead in for his first punt of the night. Second best in the league last year in net punting average as Chris Harper waits. And with a fair catch. He had room, got a block, but he had already put the hand up. So Drew Brees done for the night, mentoring the other quarterbacks over on the sideline now. Saints up by 15. 194. Defense has been sensational, but so was the offense to start the game. Drew Brees in his first activity of the preseason. Well, he had incompletion to 4 different receivers, a couple of big plays to Brandon Cooks, a touchdown for Ben Watson, and then as Cooks made some nice plays underneath the deep ball, and Cooks displaying the speed. So when I say that a guy like Cooks could get 100 catches this year, he's going to get a lot of touches in all kinds of positions for this team. Tom Brady, on the other hand, not happy. It didn't work. They were not in sync in his 3 series. In fact, they did not pick up a first down in those 3 series with Brady on the field.
Well, looking back at what Drew was able to do, it was just efficient. Everything, every play seemed to be run the way it was designed. You look at his incompletions, even on the touchdown to Coleman, the ball was in a position for the receiver to make a play. The 2-point conversion, same thing.
And now the defense back on the field. And again, great penetration in the backfield. Flag down on the play as well. But early we see Kevin Williams incredibly active off the snap.
Yep, and now I think you see John Jenkins, the other interior defensive lineman. And we just might get a call from this ref at some point.
Waiting to see if it was a loss.
Personal foul, face mask, number 92 of the defense. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot, automatic first down.
Yeah, they call it on John Jenkins. Kevin Williams, though, has been exploding off the ball in this game.
Pleasant surprise there. Well, the good news was John Jenkins beats the offensive lineman exceedingly quickly. The bad news is when he gets there, he grabs the face mask of Gray right there and results in a 15-yard penalty. But Kevin Williams, a former Pro Bowler, played at a high level and has shown some flashes of the same early in this game.
Jonas Gray is the single to the backfield. Running back out of Notre Dame. Just about a 5-yard average on 89 carries for him last year. Deep drop on the play fake. And it's complete on the first down throw. Good recovery, though, as it's Brendan Gibson, former Washington State Cougar, taking it in and brought down by Swan immediately after the gain of a little more than 7.
2 drafted rookies right there. You see Kikaha working on the right side of the offensive line now. Gets underneath the tight end's block to provide some pressure, and then Damian Swan on the tackle.
Going to be second and short. We'll send the tight end Stokes, a rookie out of LSU, in motion. And good penetration again in the backfield. So Kikaha. And while we were away, you and I and John, we were talking about the reps when he gets and he sees formations, he sees certain things. Boy, the young legs of Stephon Anthony and Kikaha are going to pay off.
Sure will, but right now that play is set up by Kevin Williams. Yep. Great penetration. I don't know if it was the reps in practice with seeing their timing and their cadence, but his get-off right now is not looking like a 13-year vet. It's like a 3-year vet.
Yeah, 6'5" guy, right about 300 pounds, and super fast for 13 years out of Oklahoma State. So now third, manageable though. Garoppolo's got time with the crossing pattern, and the tackle, I think it's short of the first down. Outstanding play in the secondary, and that was Kenny Phillips, the safety, chopping him down short of the first down by about a yard.
You got a crossing route. Those sometimes are tough to carry the whole way, but safety play, Kenny Phillips comes up, gets him short of the first down.
Trying to make a football team after being out of football completely the last 2 years, and with the injuries in that secondary, Joe, the number of reps he got this last week have paid off.
Yeah, good point, because he's battling Sanford, he's battling Pierre Warren. He's going to come out of there, and that is an interesting, and we'll talk about that a lot in week number 4. When they're at 75 and have to get to 53. Good punt. Murphy calls for the fair catch and takes it in cleanly back at about the 15-yard line. So time onto the field, all Saints early tonight with inside of 8 to play in the first half. Saints get it back with the worst field position to start a drive so far tonight. He caught it about the 15-14. They're going to put it at the 11, though. And that's the best shot of the night so far. So welcome back to the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. Good night for football. And boy, it was buzzing all over the Central Business District today, tonight. You can tell it was game day. I don't care if it's the preseason or not.
That's what makes New Orleans so special. The fans, they don't care. They just want to see the Saints play.
It's at the 11 with McCown's second series. His first 3 and out with a punt. He sends Coleman in motion. It'll be Mark Ingram. Now he can do it. No gain on the carries. He's throttled right at the 11. And Sheard had the solo stop. New England, don't forget, they have been the gold standard in the AFC. Last 14 years, 12 AFC East titles. AFC champs 6 times over the last 14. 4 Super Bowl championships. A little screen set up for Ingram. Can he get outside? Makes a nice turn. But good recovery just the same out of the secondary. That's Dixon.
Ingram shows great speed just to get to the edge right there. You had Lolito out of the screen in front, goes for the cut block on the linebacker, who's able to fight off the block. And then Ingram's just a foot race to get as much ground as he can and make a manageable third down situation.
It's already his 3rd catch of the game for a total of 45 yards. He's going to be a factor in the passing game. Now McCown, can he get a first down? No. Coleman is all tangled up coming across the middle. So he's making Marcus Colston he was looking for.
Obviously a little miscommunication between the receiver and the quarterback right here. Looks like Colston checks up, maybe on an option route. McCown thinks he's going to break it in. They're discussing it on their way to the sideline.
Chris Harper waits for the punt. And Moreeeee can get into this one. What the hang time fair catch called for. This time a beauty over to the near side. Bends into the boundary. Harper makes a miss at the 30. Good return to the 40 and down across the 45. So once he got past Jontavius Jones, the gunner, he had some space. So the best field position with a flag down in the play. There is a flag down. Back at about the 45, we'll find out what it's about with the Saints up by 15. Yeah, the shutout so far, and as we bring you back to the Dome in New Orleans, don't forget, first team secondary is not out there in its entirety. The first team secondary is on the sideline, so this is encouraging. Great reps for the youngsters, the second teamers. Kenny Phillips has made a couple of outstanding plays. We've seen the aggressiveness for the second consecutive week of Damian Swann. There's no question about that. So Rob Ryan has to be encouraged now. Cut down to the flags.
Yes, and now we'll see Sanford out there as well. He'll play one of the safety positions.
Penalty flag brought it back, and weaving his way out of the backfield. A good run by Jonas Gray. And this young man out of Notre Dame, he had a 201-yard game against the Colts last year, and then inactive in the postseason. So they've got some depth at that position.
Position of strength for them. They have talent, no doubt about it. But you think for a guy like that coming off a 200-yard game, you'd show up to meetings on time.
Shy of the 30 on a first down. Good penetration again. And it was David Hawthorne. There were a couple there that turned him in. Hawthorne cleaned up. And don't forget, New England was the 4th highest scoring team in the NFL last year. Well, the Saints were super efficient offensively. They scored 25 a game. These guys capitalized when they got in. They averaged 29 points a game. They are also 6th best on third downs. So the drive stayed alive. And that same look from Bill Belichick all these years.
If nothing else, he's consistent.
2nd and long outside of the 21. Over the middle, good grab. It is a first down, and it'll be Phillips taking him down on the grab by Chris Harper, the rookie out of Cal, who is not drafted.
As a defensive back, when you're playing in man coverage and you get these little routes with any kind of cross to them, man, it's tough to stick, especially on the inside slant. You're really hoping for that safety to come up and help you right there. And you see Phillips right there, man, he's trying to make plays, trying to get the ball loose and make a negative into a positive.
First down across the midfield stripe. It's Jonas Gray again. And again, good penetration in the backfield. He had to struggle to get a yard out of the play, and he did a good job just to get it back without a loss on the play.
There's Tyler Davison again. We keep bringing up his name here, this rookie camp of his. Joe, you talked about him earlier, plugging a hole, and he's in there with the big stick on this play as well.
Yeah, and so many of the first teamers are still out there. So Davison comes in. We talked about Bobby Richardson,
right,
an undrafted guy who's been impressive. Davison, a 5th-round pick. A Bulldog out of Fresno State. So you've got to have depth. It's got to be a tag team match up front. Good job by Gray. Lunges inside the 40 down to the 38. A couple of extra yards. And now it's 3rd and 1. He's brought down by Stanley Jean-Baptiste and Swan. So after the gain of 8, it's up to 22 and counting for the Patriots. Now let's see what they do with Garoppolo. They keep it on the ground.
And I would have to say most of those rushing yards for the Patriots have come on this drive.
17 of the 22. Strong side is the left side where they go with the sweep, and they've got the first down. So they sealed off that side. Sent the extra blocker over there and take it down to about the 34 of the Saints. So this drive, and don't forget the penalty pushed it way back for the Patriots deep in their own territory, has been by far their most impressive against the Saints defense. And when I talk to people about Garoppolo, they all said one thing: he's got a super quick release, and we've seen that on that crossing pattern over the middle. It got there in a hurry.
His ball definitely has zip to it. You saw that on the little inside slant there.
It's Gray. Had a good job. He was altering his route because of the play of Hawthorne, who got into the backfield. Adjusted nicely with Cam Jordan still on his back, though, and no gain on the carry.
Well, penetration has been the key all day long for this defense. Hawthorne diagnoses it, runs underneath the block of the fullback, misses the tackle, but there's Cam Jordan right there to wrap him up for no gain.
So 2nd and long. Go with the speed back this time. They've got trips on the wide side of the field. Garoppolo on a little turn-in route. Good job from behind to make sure it was a short gain on the reception, as it's Kyle Wilson on the back of the receiver.
That's that quick release you were talking about, Joel, because there was heat coming from the backside of that play.
Well, you had both interior linebackers on a little bit of a cross dog, providing pressure on Garoppolo, so he was forced to get the ball out.
You know, the Saints had their eyes on him, Joel, but the Patriots snatched him up first, and not just because Garoppolo went to Sean Payton's alma mater of Eastern Illinois. It's because of what you're seeing here on this drive.
Yeah, he's legit. And he's not a big guy. He's about 6'2". But so far, he has not missed. He is 6 of 6. So we've reached the 2-minute warning. Very successful beginning for Cam Jordan and the Saints. Up by 15. Been by far the most successful drive by New England tonight. But they come out of the 2-minute warning facing a 3rd and 5 at the Saints 29. They're just 2 of 7 on the 3rd down tries. Can the Saints get a stop with Garoppolo at the controls? Time for Garoppolo. Man, a little bit behind Harper, but great coverage down the sideline once again by Kyle Wilson. With him every step of the way.
Great coverage by Wilson, just running with him. Gives no air to the wide receiver, covered it up. Cam Jordan, look at him just trying to get in the passing lane, gets his hands up.
Hands on the back of Wilson, in fact. So they're going to go for it on 4th and 5, down 15 to nothing. Trips again to the wide side. At the line, and it falls incomplete, but it'll go back to the Saints. They're going to decline it. They're saying false start. Do they have an option? Let's see. Looks like the offense coming on the field. It'll be declined.
New Orleans.
Boy, am I glad to see an opposing quarterback get knocked on the floor. And that's exactly what happened at the end of this play. Take a look at this on the outside, John.
Well, that's Kikaha right there working on the left tackle. That's still their first offensive unit. It's an inside, he dips up.
So the Saints get it back. McCown now. How about the 2-minute drill? Deep ball. He's got Cooks. And what Cooks has, and that's a ton of speed.
Well, if you're Luke McCown and your inside receiver, fakes on an inside move, gets to the outside. Boy, with his speed, it just takes.
Timeouts on the board. Ingram's got a wall over to the right side. Andrus Pete with a nice block and another first down.
The quarterback's got no chance. It's a good block by Pete.
McCown a ton of time going for Colston and a flat. I have to admit, I have to be honest about it. McLean is whistled.
McLean's 5'9" against Marcus Colston. Good luck with that.
Number 22 of the defense. That penalty is accepted. The ball will be placed at the spot of the foul.
Josh Hill, do you want it? I got it. Can he get there? Yes. Touchdown, Saints.
Route. They're showing play action to the left. He runs back away from the flow. And then there he is to cross the pylon for a touchdown. Once again, you're going for 2 after it, but Josh Hill gets the ball. He's not going to be denied. Look at him. He finds his way across the line, the stripe for a touchdown. And this is the third 2-point conversion for the Saints.
And by the way, last week it was Ryan Griffin that made a statement with a 2-minute drive. Luke McCown this week. Luke needed that bad.
His third series, now the 2-point conversion drive. Into the corner. But not much of a chance that time for Coleman with that throw. So another touchdown through the air. Boy, Josh Hill all of a sudden Mr. Red Zone after what he did last year, and it continues in the preseason. He had 5 touchdowns and 14 catches last year. He looked good hooking up with Griffin in last week's game.
Coleman right there, he's 6'5", if an inch, and just not putting a place for your big receiver to make a play right there. And you can see it on McCown that he's just disappointed in where he put the ball.
Yeah, and I don't think it was that far off. It wasn't spot perfect on the throw, but as you mentioned with Coleman's size, I think with that size you have to make up for a throw being a couple inches off like that and maybe pull that thing in.
Well, I agree with you. Yeah. I think as a receiver you grow into those routes and you realize with your big body that you can press into the defensive back and make your quarterback look a little bit better in those situations.
Yeah, but if you're going to throw a jump ball, you want air under it. You're going to back deep along with James Devlin. They have not been able to have an opportunity, and they won't this time as well. Hopkins doing a good job on the kicks. And we talk about the hidden yards in a football game and the special teams, and it's paying off again.
Every kickoff return's been, for the most part, coming to the 20-yard line.
Now good experience for Dion Lewis. He's got a first down. He saves some clock as well, going out of bounds at the 31. So 2 timeouts still remaining for the Patriots trying to get on the board. And that play only took 6 seconds.
Man, he is all over the field. He's rushing the passer, and then he's covering down 30 yards to be.
Yes. Good grab. Going down to get it was Brandon Gibson. But they doubled. They chipped after the tackle. The back came over to account for Kikaha. That's a rookie.
You almost have to, because his second effort is unbelievable. And linebackers coach Joe Vitt absolutely loves him, probably because of that primarily.
He's getting around the corner. Nice throws down marker. So let's see what the placement's going to be. There is a flag down.
If you're watching Kikaha here, he might not have the technique as a 10-year vet, but just watch his motor. He's trying to play with.
Stinch, you asked the question at the top of our show. Who, alongside Jordan, is going to provide? All of a sudden, it's gone from the start of camp to now, maybe even a starter at Arizona week 1. 19 sacks as a senior in college. Look, I don't care whatever level you're at. 19 sacks in a season is still 19 sacks, and it looks like it's going to translate.
What's his style of play right now more than anything? Here, you can see 36 sacks, school record. The guy knows how to get to the passer. What he's showing now, it's not that he's savvy in technique. He's just showing he's got a great motor. Man, that gets you a long way in this game. As he becomes more accustomed to rushing the passer, the timing of these tackles, his technique's going to come. But what he's showing right now is that he's got a motor, and you got to have a little dog in you.
Yeah, no doubt.
Defensive end, it's not always got to be pretty. You just got to fight your way to it.
And Teron Armstead said, look, I can hold him off right now in practice because I'm using some hand tricks that I've learned in my first 3 years. But when Hal figures those out, I won't be able to handle them very easily anymore.
Yeah, they're going over to the sideline to review the previous play. And as we're talking about Kikaha, remember that 32 of those 36 sacks were his junior and senior years.
Yes.
And he played in a conference. The Pac-12 is, to me, the closest conference with a pro set. I mean, there's a premium on the passing game. And so it bodes well for him to come in.
That maybe the thing that's going to be provide the hardest learning curve for him here is pass coverage. We know he can go rush the passer. We know, as we've seen tonight, he can seal an edge, but maybe.
And he was right at the first down marker. Now they're looking at the play over at the replay. The 10.
That's him with the white hat, the jacket with the quarter zip there. He's there mentoring this newly minted referee.
Yeah, they're trying to find out if it is a completion. If the ball hit the ground on the play. And Barry Anderson, the referee, this is his first game.
Right.
As if you didn't join us early, it's his first game as a referee in the league. So we definitely need this in the preseason. There's no question about that.
Boy, Bill Belichick is lecturing perhaps here. Is that a fair way to put this?
So what we're saying is that last play didn't even occur.
Was it a trap or not? And they got him to the line in a hurry.
We're not counting the play after that. This is the play we're reviewing. It's not where he's dragging his leg. I don't know if you can even tell from that angle where the ball is. What's surprising to me is that you let an entire snap run before you get an extra rep.
What it tells you is the communication from the sideline to the middle of the field's not there right now.
After review, the previous play of a completed pass stands. The ball will be placed on the 46-yard line.
I don't blame Bill Belichick for being upset because that was another first down. He caught that ball right at the marker.
Absolutely. That's gated because you want to go back and review 2 plays ago.
Yeah, I don't blame him at all. He's still the same.
I got to attend
He's consistent.
I got to attend my first Bill Belichick press conference in person this past week. John, let's just say I'm not popping any popcorn and buying season tickets to it.
They haven't missed the playoffs since 2008, guys.
It's been a 32nd time out.
Spoiled up there.
Well, it's the closest thing in the NFL to having a dynasty. The way that they build their program. You've had superstars come and go, and they remain at the top of the heap year in and year out. And the man in the hoodie deserves a lot of that credit.
He orchestrates it all. It helps to have a quarterback that can be as efficient in the system, and the system for them is definitely the solution. But we're talking about a 38-year-old Hall of Famer.
Now they're still playing at a high level.
Right. And now they're wondering if they're going to have this quarterback the first 4 weeks of the regular season and how he's guiding his team through camp, through that process right now. Watching that team practice this past week, you would never know, Joel Myers, that Tom Brady was embroiled in this situation right now with the league and the courts and everything else. It's business as usual for them, and they do one of the best jobs in the NFL of eliminating the noise, as they call it.
Well, I think for quarterbacks like Brady, for teams like the New England Patriots, what they do well is they're able to focus and block out distractions. They've had a big one this offseason and very easily could have lost focus, but if nothing else, they've proven that they can keep what's at the front or priority, and not get distracted by some of the outside goings on.
So the debut continues for referee Barry Anderson. Under the watchful eye, as you mentioned, as Kikaha makes him throw it early, but Deion Lewis with a good one-handed grab. It gets to the sideline to save the timeout. As he's forced out on that side by Wilson.
Well, Kikaha right there, he's coming off the edge unblocked. No one's got the back out of the backfield. possibly a miscommunication, missed assignment right there. Good point.
Inside the 44, a first down for the Patriots. 27 seconds left. That's personal foul. And that'll also stop the clock with the penalty.
Go
ahead, John.
What they're going to call here is it's Bobby Richardson. You got a defensive tackle. Richardson comes over and cleans up the tackle in a way that Hawthorne. You got Jean-Baptiste making the tackle. Progress has been stopped.
Yes.
78's the
15 yards after the end of the run. First down.
Forward progress had been stopped for some time. Let's head down to John DeShazer. John.
Coach Payton is pretty livid about that call. Back in high school, he got into an argument with the coach, got kicked off the team. His dad says, "What next?" Those two words, he says, changed his life. He goes to Plant High School, earns a scholarship to Indiana. Now he's a rookie.
There's no question about that. Garoppolo, pocket collapsing and escapes. He's got time and he's got a touchdown. Good job by Garoppolo as he finds
Richardson right there, almost trying to redeem himself after that penalty where he's trying to make the open receiver in the end zone for a touchdown.
6'2", 225 pounds. Tough customer Garoppolo, and now a 33-yard extra point attempt by Gostkowski. And he's got it. Still 2-point conversions for the Saints. It's 21-7. And he barely escaped after the penetration and the pressure by Richardson.
Richardson gets there. He gets his hands on the quarterback.
Coverage there. And again, we talked about at the top, Joel, about having the right perspective and watching the defensive secondary tonight. They've been thrown a variety of situations in this first half. And this is a learning process. I understand that. So again, we go back to not wanting to throw something at the television when you see a coverage blown like that, but yet also maybe seeing a chance to grow in this situation. Film like that will help you in getting ready for the regular season.
Well, it's an extended play too.
Yeah.
I mean, he's probably covered the primary route. There's still action. The quarterback still has the ball. The receivers still have time to make a play. And those are the times that it's probably more difficult for a defensive back to stick with a wide receiver.
Yeah, well, when the play is extended, as you mentioned, more than ever. And then all of a sudden, the original route is an adjustment by the receiver. So good job by Harper on the receiving end. Give Garoppolo a lot of credit. You saw that kid on the sideline. You think they're going to like him down the road to the north end in Boston, waiting for the kick from Gostkowski. It'll be a lane over to the left side. There goes Murphy. Good return across the 20. He's fearless. I'll give him that. Out to
feedback on that kickoff return. Seems like if he could have just picked up that safety valve before he was running.
Joined us late, led by Drew Brees. So Brees on the field for the first 3 series for the Saints. Led to a Hopkins field goal. 10-yard touchdown pass to Ben Watson. And a 45-yard. And we go to the break in a 14-point lead for the Saints. So the Patriots in New Orleans for a preseason game for the first time since 1986. And a real good 30 minutes of play with the Saints. We get ready for the start of the second half. Tonight's Cox high-speed connection play of the game. Drew Brees hooking up with Brandon Cooks. John, it was well timed.
It's a beautiful play.
Fastest in-home Wi-Fi for the best football experience at home. As we get ready for the start of Gostkowski, will kick it away, and it's going to be over the head. Let's not forget about the defense and what they did. Tom Brady, even joined us late, was out there for the first 3 series and did not get a first down.
Because it was 2nd and 10 or 3rd and long because of that defensive front being able to stop the run.
And it's free for good yardage. So he goes to Tobin Apurum, who I had.
Great pronunciation by you, Joel. Well done right out of the gates. Another little play action pass, if you will, finding the running back returning from the flow, and just an easy start for Ryan Griffin to get the ball rolling.
Yeah, that's a smart call, isn't it? Get him into the rhythm of the game as you can. Is that a late one coming in? No flag on the play. Now, we talk about the battle for the backup spots. And there is, you'll see the tail end, but there's no flag at the end of this play. Okay, forward progress.
A little high dump. Boy, if you're going to call Bobby Richardson early along, you know what? You saw some growing pains right there with Andrus Peat. We didn't go back to it, but You know, when you're an open side, you don't have a tight end. It's sometimes a difficult block to time your steps, and you saw that with Davis.
That's Hightower again for about 3, and it's going to bring up 3rd and 4. The command in the huddle. Tell us what it's like for Ryan Griffin with the offensive line, the presence he needs to have to take it to the next level.
Well, everybody in that huddle is going to look to you to know that you have the confidence that each detail of the play is something that's second nature to you. That's easily expressed.
He's got time. Yeah, he's got the receiver. It's complete. Now can he hang on? Yes. That was beautifully thrown to Josh Morgan. Boy, we saw the touch last week, hitting whether it was Hill or Kyrie Robinson.
Nice ball by Griffin. Watch right tackle. I like the hands of Andrus Peat against the starting defensive end for the New England Patriots, but Ryan Griffin, great
8 yards on that catch. Hightower bending it outside, and there's going to be a holding call. How do you feel about the change that we've seen in recent years with 2, not just the referee, but 2 in the backfield now?
Well, it's a lot harder to get away with things as an offensive lineman.
You got it. That's why I asked you.
Holding on the offense, number 79. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot.
The X1 to the backfield.
Now, that's exactly right, Joel. Just look at the bottom of your screen. You're looking at the left tackle. He's got good initial position. Hands might get a little loose, and you see once you lose your
body extending the pocket. And we talk about the progression of a quarterback and reading situations, and obviously it was good coverage downfield as he dumped it off to Joe Morgan.
I think you're seeing comfort and confidence out of Griffin. He's comfortable enough to move in the pocket, keep his eyes downfield, find receivers, not feel pressed to make plays. Sometimes young guys feel like they have to go for a home run.
But Bryce Harris just couldn't get that chip he needed.
That's a full sprint for that left tackle. It's hard when you're
from Toon, Josh Morgan, and Joe Morgan all on this drive, and all 3 of those guys might be battling for that 4th receiver position on the depth chart.
3rd and long. Griffin is yet to miss. I feel your pain is what you're saying, John. You know, about Harris trying to run out there.
I've been there, Joel.
Pressure. Griffin had to get rid of it in a hurry.
Key first-round pick, and Andrus Peat, who, you know, he throws his punch.
Just barely wide left. So the long field goal attempt, good field position on the other side when we come back for the New England Patriots. And the Patriots get it back, down by 14. Growing pains, first-round pick Andrus Peat, John.
Well, he's lined up at right tackle right here. You almost have to know your opponent a little bit. Sheer proven pass rusher comes underneath. And you'll draw the ire of the head coach with blocks like that.
That's 300 pounds on your quarterback, Ryan Griffin. Look, Garrett Blunt running up the back of his own blocker, flag on the play where you normally see a holding call. But let's see, possibly hand to the cage. Referee, first time ever, Barry Anderson. So we've had some delays on some of the calls.
Personal foul. Hands to the neck, number 98 of the defense. That penalty will be tacked on from the end of the run. Automatic first down.
It's Paris Harrelson who's called on the personal foul.
Interesting with Harrelson, Joel, 31 years old, and now has to treat this camp as if he's starting all over again. All right, so this is a big chance for Paris here.
It moves it to a first down to the 37. That was a stiff arm from the wide receiver. Chris Harper tried to separate himself with the defensive.
It looks like there's a little jostling late. I appreciate the fact that they get away with the no call right here.
Yeah, sometimes it's the chicken fighting, the hand fighting.
That's right.
Let it go. Move on. It'll be 2nd and 10 from the 37. Blunt again. Really healthy situations for these two teams. Earlier this week at the Greenbrier. And the 3rd time they've got a relationship. Did it in 2010, you know, in 2012, Stitch. So it's a good situation.
I think when you get with these two organizations together, what you see is professionalism. What they're trying to accomplish is for both teams to get better. and it sounded like it was beneficial for both.
The go forward, Garoppolo has been in this together.
Well, by this point, you've been 3 weeks probably working with the same group of guys where
Hesitation didn't work. The yard maybe. Dropped immediately by Franklin.
you're constantly trying to change the pace of the game and use it as a weapon.
At the end of the play, John.
Well, he's doing everything he can to force it as wide as he possibly can. And there's Coley to wrap it up. Great play, as you say, just high effort. You've seen a great deal of effort from these young defensive ends.
They're the third down for Garoppolo and the Patriots.
Just a while now. So he knows that sometimes you don't have to go for the big play. Just move the chains. And once again, that quick release served him well.
Brady is a surgeon.
I don't think you can make that comparison anytime soon.
Yeah. Inside the 12, first down.
Still low key, so he's probably able to communicate between the both of them.
Thank you, JD.
Between Peyton and Ryan.
And now they're trying to get personnel on the field. Sean Payton tried to get a timeout called late.
They got flags on the play, too.
12 middle of the defense. New Orleans. Half the distance to the...
JD, what's the latest downstairs? Well, we'll pick up on that down. About 5 flags on the play. I think
the area is pretty clear to see he had him hooked.
Holding on the offense, number 16.
At the edge of your screen, he's trying to block down. There's a hook right there. He gets enough easy for them to catch.
it'll go back to the 11. It'll be first and goal from there. So only the third penalty on the Patriots. Little guy gets it. Man, spinning his way. Does he get in?
Up, they come back with one back power play, a little counter. He finds the crease and forces his way into the end zone.
Yeah, it looks like the ball was across as he was going down. He was on a body as well before he hit the ground. So they'll review it. It's a scoring play, and then it'll be a field goal try. An attempt to make it a 7-point ball game.
Saints had dime coverage on that play, Stinch. That's a lot of responsibility right up the middle here on this defense.
Now lands on the body before.
It's
awfully close.
Really close. And to your point, Sean, when you only have the 4 down linemen and one backer behind them, it really puts the onus on them to stop any of the one back running plays. They didn't get it done within the box. Now you're to the second level with guys trying to be in coverage in a confined space. Bad
The rule on the field of a touchdown is confirmed.
So it's an 11-play, 55-yard drive. Garoppolo. He got into 6 games as a rookie, 6 games of mop-up duty for the New England Patriots last year. A team that won 12 during the regular season. 7-point game. So that's the way it begins in the third for New England. 5:57 to play. Saints lead down to 7. Tonight's game from the Dome, all brought to you in part by Verizon. Come home to a better network. Those shots just a little earlier in the day. Boy, we have a monsoon at one point, a couple hours before kickoff. But it is clearing out. A beautiful night. Bringing it back past the 15. It is Edwin Baker. And a good return across Ryan Griffin. And some of the second unit, offensive unit out there. And now he gets his second opportunity. They stalled. He was sacked. So bring up 2nd and 10. He's got away. 5:45 left in the third. So as you see some of the backups out there that have come into the game now for the Saints. These are big minutes. Orson Charles, the tight end, now a 2 tight end set. And stumble, step on the foot of the quarterback.
Well, it gets awful tight in the middle there. You'll see McGinn was able to, he's just trying to reach that defensive tackle. Sometimes it gets such tight quarters, there's not a lot of room to move your feet.
showing a shy where he needed to go for the first down. So punt, you would think, coming up for the Saints on 4th down. Almost a full 2. They're going to the jumbo look. Charles is back out there along with Eric Loring. They take a 5-yard mark off, try to get him to jump, or do they go? And got the contact. There you go. The nose jumped on it.
As a defensive player, you have to have more awareness. I mean, you know the situation. It's 4th and 2, and they're inside their own 40.
Sealinga, who's a vet.
Encroachment on the defense. Number 96. 5-yard penalty results in a first down.
Makes contact. You usually don't see that out of your veterans.
He's got experience, 4th-year man out of Utah. Play fake there. And he's got a ton of time coming back across the field. What a throw. It's Morgan, and he lost the football. Pop free from behind and gave it right back. Josh Morgan had to be aware as it's popped from behind by James Morris.
A great play, only for it to go the other way late in the game. You have to tuck it away and know that somebody's behind you. Feel the presence that you're.
We've watched it about 10 times. Just Beats not going to quit on the play.
That's right, especially when you're tiptoeing down the sideline. It's not like he's able to sprint full. For the New England Patriots to have the awareness to punch the ball out from behind.
It's hard to make a mark on a football team when you're sharing the number with the long snapper, but that's Morris's situation. There are 2 number 49s.
Number 49 is a lock to make the team, by the way. That long snapper is a rookie, and he was chosen in the 5th.
The ruling on the field of a fumble is confirmed. New England's ball, first.
He can get a stop now in a 7-point game, 4:09 to play.
Josh Morgan had a great week of practice, too. He's found a way to communicate with Drew Brees in those red zone situations. We saw that in the practices with the Patriots, finding a gap in the zone. He's a veteran who's fighting for one of those bottom spots on the wide receiver depth chart right now.
And he's got Harper again. Well, those two are hooked up. You can tell. They get their reps in practice together, don't they?
Shows lots of chemistry. It's also tough for those defensive backs when a quarterback is able to find Harper again, just sitting in between the pockets of the zone.
And that goes back last year. Coming over as a free agent, trying to make the Patriots squad a gain of 15. Brought down by.
Very rarely do you find windows that big.
Garoppolo now 16 of 19. Brady-like numbers, by the way. 159 yards and a score. And torpedoing the play. Good job by the linebacker, Henry Coley. And we've called his number a few times as well. The rookie.
The play and slicing through in the run game. He's also had a couple tackles in coverage.
And remember, when we talk about Bobby Richardson, we talk about Coley, they can always be their practice squad eligible. That is the key, because after you go 75 to 53, a couple of days later, you're bringing back 10. Your practice squad. Taxi squad. On 2nd down. Thought put that old one in there. It's a comeback route. And a completion once again. So that's a pro making that play on the outside. Brandon Gibson trying to make it for his 7th year in the league. In front of Kyle Wilson.
It's not only an audition for the practice squad spots. You're also auditioning for 31 other teams. They might see something from one of these rookies that they like and have a spot on their roster to fill that 53.
First down at the 43 of the Saints. And coming up off the edge and forcing it in. Good job by Kyle Wilson.
I think run support all day has been exceptional, especially considering where they started last week. In week 1, it seemed like Baltimore early on especially was able to move the ball in the running game at will. And now you've seen a lot of support from secondary players. The interior defensive line has stepped up. Much improved from week 1 to week 2.
Out of the gun. Little screen. And a good call. It's complete. And for big yardage inside the 25, it is James White, 4th rounder last year out of Wisconsin. It's a good call. play call wise?
Well, when you have younger players in the game, sometimes
At the Patriots 22, it's now the 22 of the Saints. And White, third, it'll be down to 53. And then the next day, you can bring back 10. But remember, not everybody is eligible for the practice squad. Little bubble action. And they had it targeted every step of the way there for Jonathan Krause. So, and I like what you talked about with Edibali, the recovery time. It's one thing to be beaten, but another thing not to try to get back into the play.
Well,
he has been showing up.
You have to be able to do that. Right now he's working on the left tackle. He senses that it's that bubble screen and gets back into the play. It's the same play that we saw earlier from the Saints where the tackle sprints out, tries to get the defensive back coming up in coverage. Well, I don't think the defensive back in this scenario makes that tackle, and Edibali, just on pure hustle, races out and makes sure that they didn't gain any yards, and it's 3rd and 11.
Yeah, the second rounder out of Boston College, Kasim Edibali, has had some moments tonight for the Saints as they still lead by 7 at the end of the 3rd quarter. Start of the 4th quarter. Welcome back once again to the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. Joel Myers, John Stinchcomb, Sean Kelly. And this is kind of a mirror image of last week. Whereas it was Baltimore who had 17 unanswered right away, like the Saints had the early lead. And now can the Saints hang on? It's a 3rd down for Garoppolo. The first snap. And a bullet again inside the 10. The accuracy is pretty amazing for a second-year guy out of Eastern Illinois.
Well, he kept his cool there, and he got good protection in a blitz situation from the New Orleans Saints.
So it's a completion and a 1st and goal as he went to Krause. Garoppolo's numbers, though, and how accurate he is.
He's definitely shown that he's more than capable if he's called upon to step in and play with confidence.
He's got poise, doesn't he, John?
Yes, and what's surprising is the defense for the Saints are continuing to struggle to get guys in and out from the sideline. 19
of 22, takes what they give him, hits the tight end, who's throttled immediately, but still inside the 5 as it's taken in. Vinny Sunseri on the stop to drive him back with a good gain on 1st down, going to Logan Stokes out of LSU.
It's a good job by Sunseri facing him up and making sure he doesn't get the extra yards to get in the end zone.
It'll be 2nd and goal outside the 3. 14 straight. 20 of 24 for Garoppolo. Dancing and into the end zone. It is James White. You think Wisconsin, you think bullbacks, Rod Dane and all these other big bulls of backs, but boy, what a jump cut that time by James White to find the hole.
Well, that's Coley coming through with penetration. White was just able to put the brakes on and cut underneath.
Get a good look at that Coley launch in there, just one step to the right.
It's a jump cut. Coley's in good position. Seems like he almost lost his footing, got a little top heavy, and White was able to capitalize.
They keep White in the backfield. And roll Garoppolo. It's popped.
It used to die, and now whether it be an extra point or a 2-point conversion, both teams had that chance to score.
An impressive drive engineered by Jimmy Garoppolo of 11 plays for 78 yards in a 1-point contest. Up in the warehouse district as soon as this game is over. Jalen Saunders waiting. Now will he get a touch in Mississippi? And he's turned into one of the best place kickers in NFL history as far as accuracy is concerned.
Yep, Madison Central High School, just on the north side of Jackson, Mississippi.
So Saunders get an opportunity. Good kick. 10 at their own 20-yard line. Garrett Grayson is going to take over the rookie 3rd-round pick out of Colorado State when we come back to New Orleans. Garrett Grayson was 8 of 12 last week for 87 yards. Long toss, 23 yards, but just look at conversion. Drew Brees looked like he was in midseason form if you joined us late. And Ryan Griffin, bad luck. He'd still be on the field. 6 of 8. And the fumble at the end of a nice pass. This guy's one of the best stories in camp. He's a coach's son, and all he does is make plays.
Hayden said, look, Willie doesn't have that top-end speed, which I kind of beg to differ a little bit because I think he's quicker than he's given credit for. But anything close, he's making the grab.
First down out to the 44. He was on Carolina's practice squad last year. And it's Willie Snead again. Little stiff arm action to get to the D-back for a couple of extra yards. Gets 7, almost 8, working against Daxton Swanson.
He had a one-handed catch on an out pattern to the boundary this week in practice. He also caught a fade from Griffin in the end zone, covered like a blanket. He has made it his point to not be ignored in any way, shape, or form in the last 3.5 weeks.
Photo on the Saints website of the one-handed grab was classic. It was frozen perfectly. So 12.5 minutes to play in regulation. And room and a drop by Joe Morgan. And it's going to be interesting. We know the speed Joe has. We know that he's a home run threat. And you need guys to open things up underneath because Joe Morgan can take attention deep.
Well, this is an opportunity for him to show that he can do more than just the deep ball. And you can tell that he was ready to. He was thinking about what his next move was before he caught the ball.
They love the way that he blocks. And when you look at him, you say, I'm not so sure that's the blocking wide receiver I'm looking for, but he does a great job of it, and maybe a reason why he sticks.
It'll be 3rd and 3. 3 about on 3rd downs. Hill is the motion. See, here's the plus for Murphy. Not only is he a good return guy and a threat every time, but he also could double as your 4th tailback.
Well, that just adds more value to what he brings to the team. We've seen a number of times what he does in special teams. Now you're looking at your big first-round offensive.
And at the end of the play, did you see that? A Kansas guy tapping a Missouri guy on the back of the helmet? You don't see that very often. So Garrett Grayson in there for the first time tonight as we check in with John DeShazer in the Sideline Report, brought to you by Visit Baton Rouge. John?
Thanks, Joe. As you guys can see, Garrett Grayson a lot more poised than he was earlier. Now, he came in starry-eyed, almost in awe of Drew Brees because he was just happy almost to be here and learning from Drew Brees, saying, look, I'll take whatever role they give me. But he's growing more comfortable with this offense. And I think he's growing more comfortable because they're accepting him as one of the guys with the quarterback challenge and all those other things that they do among the quarterbacks.
Too tall for Snead as it's back.
And it seems like it might be a favorite of Grayson's, just way too high and behind the turf and not the safety's hands.
Boy, that really wobbled. That was a wounded duck out of his hand. Extending the play. And now throws it away. Showing a 1-point lead. Saints ready to punt it away. The heat came from Dixon.
Well, 3rd down efficiency has not been very strong on either side. I think the Saints now are 3 of 9 and the Patriots at 3 of 10. Look, I'll look at the 3 of 10 by the Patriots as the mark that I want to take with me out of here tonight, because getting off the field for the Saints defense was such a struggle last year. It's a bright spot here tonight.
Morstead has 9. At about the 6. Good coverage. And it's going to be deep in Patriots territory if they're going to take the lead, but they're only down by 1. So 10:53 to play. Smart play. Live for another day. 2-point conversions. A rare drop. And went right through the hands of Marcus Colston. It is the preseason Garoppolo. And it's picked off. Put it up for grabs. Pierre Warren's got it. And he's going the other way inside the 40. Warren gets up a couple of blocks. And he's down to the 15. So we've talked about taking the ball away. They didn't have enough. The turnover differential last year was awful for the Saints. They've already got 3 interceptions over the first 2 preseason games. And
he does a great job of playing center field on this play and reading the quarterback and what options were left for Garoppolo on the right side of the field. He's going to look to his left here. But watch him here, Stinch, playing center field to go over the top and help out Brian Dixon on the play.
You can see his body language say he's ready for the interception long before the ball's even close. You can tell that Garoppolo he overthrew his receiver, and Warren sitting there waiting with open arms to make a play.
Guys, we were just going to talk about here at this point in the game, we're in that show me something. We're so far down the depth chart. This is the chance for them to show something in these preseason games.
Grayson with the tight end hill, a little dump off. Take with the give you, and it was available. He just settled down in front of the quarterback. Gain of about 8 all the way to the 7. That was a 33-yard return. Good call. He was ready once he got it. Felt like it was back in his high school days, and you know he played 2 ways and he was a running back.
Well, he was ready to do something with the ball. He did not want to get brought down by the receiver.
Think he's gassed? He's winded over there. It's down to the 7. Need to take it inside the 5 for 1st and goal. And Grayson has the fullback. It's Lorig battling and down to a 1st and goal to the 2. Well, that action has worked repeatedly.
That's it. It's the same action you've seen time and time again, especially in this area. Just a little bootleg. Let the fullback release underneath. See if he can get in. There's Lorig. Takes 2 steps to the play side and comes back underneath, and you're one-on-one with the safety.
And the ball on the ground. Good job. Picked up by Murphy. And it'll be 2nd and goal. Boy, good hands.
Disaster averted right there. Grayson's just a little eager to get the ball in position to hand it off. Seems like he catches the hip of Lorig. more than just catches the hip. I think he caught his greater half.
A blindside hit from your fullback.
And I was just about to say, Grayson had great footwork on that boot the prior play, and then he fumbled or knocks himself into the fullback on this one.
It'll be 2nd and goal. Back at the 3. He had Hill. Now buying some time, and it's up for grabs and incomplete. He'll learn.
Yes,
throw it away. And you know he did that in the previous possession because nothing was available and he threw it out of bounds.
Well, it's hate to say it, it's the same thing you've seen. Play action pass. You've got the tight end right there. Let's see if Josh Hill can make 4 defenders diving for a possible interception.
And nobody in the neighborhood at all. Wasn't congested on it. Did he need a bullet? Bradley Fletcher defending on the play.
You saw the full front of the jersey of Jones, and when you see that, see those 2 numbers turn toward you like that, send him the fastball.
Shontavious is another guy. He's 6'4" at least. You put that ball up, I don't know if the defensive back has a chance to get a hand in there.
Dustin Hopkins in for the field goal attempt of 21 yards, and it's a 4-point lead. So the way it sets up, we still have the potential of overtime. 24-20. 8:46 to play, and points off the turnover. All set up by the 33-yard interception return of Pierre Warren. Well, we've talked about the kicker comparison. It was distance-wise, it was great, but it drifted. It was 55 yards away. So he has 2 of
through tonight, and I think we'll probably see the reverse next week against the Texans. Hocker now, who's in to do this kickoff.
It's a 30-yard return. Gave the Patriots. He'll make some noise with Garoppolo. And would it be Garoppolo?
Warren.
Going back, we've seen that play repeatedly from both teams. That's Mundine, the rookie out of Kansas.
Pretty good spin move right there, boys.
Yep. And Abali caught up with him.
Dixon's got no
36. And he's 32. And he's a backup. But come on, Brett Favre, you can go down the list. Jimmy Garoppolo looks like he's ready.
I think you take away.
He's going to wait, though.
Yeah, he's not coming in. The release that you've referred to, man, it looks sharp. It looks starter ready. It just
Heights, Illinois. Long stretch at Arlington Park. It's now 3rd and 2. And good recognition for the turnaround. And boy, he dropped it right in time tonight, especially with Garoppolo in there. Now don't forget, next week, game 3, it's going to be on Fox. So you'll see it, the home game. But then the last game of the preseason will be in the Arctic. We'll get the date. I think it's the 3rd, actually. Thursday night, the 3rd. There you go. First down at the Saints 46. Little swing. And it's a little back loop. Anibali's going to sleep well tonight.
He'll get a great rest tonight. And it's a shame that Barnes, who is in a great position to make the initial stop on the play, couldn't get it done right there. Basically what would have been the line of scrimmage.
Well, it's recognition on his part. He feels the offensive lineman try to cut him, trying to
29-237 for Garoppolo. And another completion, another first. Threw it downfield. It was picked off where he threw it up for grabs into double coverage. It's Henry Coley on the stop.
Coley's one of those guys that's taking advantage of an injury. He's gotten an increased number of reps this week, especially with the injury to Ellerby, who did not play tonight as well. Hurt last week against Baltimore.
On third and less than a yard, it's a first down to the quarterback keeper. Boy, Garoppolo, what is it about this system, John, where it's, I wouldn't say dink and dunk, but they just take whatever is available. And it's super efficient, whether it's break.
Always the long ball that gets you down the field. They're able to manage the game, take those 10, 8, 12, 15-yard shots and move the ball down the field. Now isn't able to wrap up, and running back scoots for a first down right there. So Coley, he's in position. He just needs to make those plays. But back to Garoppolo.
Right.
I mean, he's been able to manage. This is what the Patriots do.
He looks like a clone.
They mix it up. They're perfectly happy with the underneath mid-range routes.
James White stays with the backfield. The guy that just bowled over Coley, trying to make him miss again, but has ripped backwards. He's put down by Franklin. So it's going to be second and about 9. Final 4+. And we're going to get a time onto the field. Going to be a timeout, and it'll be called by the Saints. So a defensive timeout. 2 remaining for the Saints. And then, as we talk about the last preseason game, Game 4 in Green Bay, don't forget it all begins about 10 days later. And that is at Arizona, a very difficult team on their home field. You know, we talking about Tampa Bay, and that's at home. That should be a good home opener. But if you can get it started back at the Patriots 25 with the play fake, Garoppolo again, and
Got the pass. He seems to be in good position to make plays tonight.
it's close 9. Can they get the heat on the quarterback? On the cross, complete, but well short of the first down. He had to get
One situations, you're going to bring pressure. You can expect the ball to be coming out quick. And Manning, you got to make these tackles. Expect an underneath route and the ball to come out quick.
Gostkowski in. Drew Brees and the Saints by 1 over the Patriots. Both teams look for their first preseason win. Our Verizon call of the game. Playing Drew Brees for 3 series, and what a difference. They look like a different team.
Well, he sets
Touchdown
the
for Ben
tone.
Watson. Yeah, he found and he moved it around.
He did. How many different receivers did he hit? All 3 possible touchdowns were right on the money, and he just looks so smooth. He brings such a cadence and pace to the game of efficiency that's really fun to watch.
I thought he brought a steady influence to the next week of camp, too. The tone that was set by his play and the way the defense played, too, in the first half of the game. Joel, it changes the narrative of what's next in camp for the New Orleans Saints. Right there behind number 9. It's a much different narrative as they go into practice tomorrow afternoon as opposed to what they saw getting out of the Baltimore game.
First team offensive line looked pretty good in front of Drew Brees as well. Gave him time to survey the situation and go to different sources, as you mentioned. Gostkowski, you know, Jalen Saunders get an opportunity. He wanted it. You could tell on the back line of the end zone, but instead the Saints are going to get it at their own 20. Now 2 timeouts remaining. They're making 3 for New England, plus the 2-minute warning. Let's see if there's a time-consuming drive where the Saints could potentially run out the clock.
Garrett Grayson's going to look for a little something better on this drive than he had on his last one. I think you had put it well, Joel, earlier, that showing his age or lack of experience certainly came to be on that last drive.
And he really looked confident in the debut last week in Baltimore. Edwin Baker is back there on the quick toss. It's complete, and it goes to R.J. Harris, the rookie out of New Hampshire. Maybe a candidate for the practice squad because he's had his moments in camp as well.
There's been flashes enough to say that, yeah, maybe he should be one of those 10. It's been so much fun to watch the bottom end of that depth chart at wide receiver. We're starting to see a little bit of separation now. Who's going to be 4? Who's going to be 5? Harris probably not in that conversation, but could be for that practice squad.
Bending it outside. Baker, is that a horse collar? No. No flag on the play.
Not with 2:46 left in the game.
Swanson
Preseason game number 2.
gets him at the 27. Got him around the shoulder pads, but did not get him behind the collar. So the Saints 4 of 11 on third down conversions, and this is a 3rd and 3. Jones is the motion man, and looking back, there was contact, but they're not going to throw the flag there. And Harris wanted it up against the D-back Bradley Fletcher. Did he get there early?
We take another look at it. He's the wide receiver, little stutter in route. Looks like there's potentially some contact before, but not enough for the official to pull the flag out of his pocket.
So the last thing the Saints wanted, 3 and outs with a punt, stopping the clock on that incompletion with 2:13 to play. Morstead gets into it. And it's going to be Harper bringing it back at the 27. Good field position. They only need a field goal, don't forget. He's got a lot of yardage. So a nifty play down the sideline by Chris Harper of the New England Patriots, trying to make this squad undrafted rookie out of Cal.
I don't like seeing your lone punter on the roster make the stop at the end of the play, and a little slow to get up in Thomas Morstead, but he's a tremendous athlete. I don't think he's any worse for wear there, but that's not what I wanted to see.
So 28-yard punt return by Harper, playing his preseason game number 2. And welcome back once again to the Superdome in New Orleans. Joel Myers, John Stinchcomb, Sean Kelly. And the start of the game, sensational. First half, outstanding, especially for the defense. Now the opportunities for the second and third teamers to get a stop, and let's see if they can do it with the pressure under the 1-point game. Garoppolo has been unbelievably efficient at quarterback since taking over for Brady at the end of the first quarter. And the middle of the field's available. He's got a first down inside the 25. So it's taken in by Jonathan Krause. So will they help hold up to the pressure is the key.
Well, that was just a great ball by Garoppolo. He puts it in a place where the wide receiver was able to shield the ball from the defensive back and make a play. So again, you see Garoppolo's efficiency more so than a deficiency out of the defensive backfield.
Taking advantage of great matchups too. They put the Saints in either a leaky zone or even a mismatch in a one-on-one coverage, as you see at the top of your screen.
Already in field goal position for Gostkowski. And jump cut didn't work that time for James White.
Vinny Sinceri, ladies and gentlemen.
We have the opportunity for the 5th rounder last year out of Alabama.
Well, he undercuts the block of the slot receiver and literally nowhere to go with the ball. So nice play from Sinceri to get in the backfield and take away all of his options.
Now 48 seconds and counting. I can't believe they're going to gamble and put the ball into the air now in range of Gostkowski. And in fact, they're going into the prevent already. Will they just take a knee? No, it'll be a toss. White. And weaving his way for some pretty good yardage. So now chip shot territory with 23 seconds left. And the Saints will stop the clock. Hannibali finally chased him down. So when you look at the numbers, and last week it was Andrus Peat. He had more offensive snaps than anybody else. He was out there for 80% of the snaps for the offense. I would think it's going to be real similar for Kasim Hannibali tonight.
He's been on the field a ton tonight. We've called his name just as much, so made his presence known. Lots of hustle from him, sideline to sideline, tipping passes, running down plays. Definitely been present in the game.
Yeah, the positives, Drew Brees, the first team defense of the first half in particular. Went into the locker room up 21-7. So a lot to take away for both sides of the ball.
Brandon Cooks, 2 touchdowns already in the preseason, including the brilliant one tonight on the bomb.
Going to be third, about 5. Man just setting it up into the middle of the field for the place kicker as the Saints will use their final timeout.
So the Saints lost a close game at Baltimore last week. New England's got a chance to do them in again here in week 2. Stinch, I heard a lot of Saints fans talking about after last week's preseason game about the inability to finish or win that close game from last season, and they're already going, here we go again. I want to squelch some of that and caution going overboard on that because it's the preseason. Am I way off on that?
No, don't get me wrong. Saints are playing to win the game, but that's not the primary focus. As odd as that sounds, it's more about evaluating each player and trying to find the best 53 for when the live bullets are fired in its regular season. So they're going to put themselves in situations to evaluate talent, and sometimes that comes at a cost of, in a real regular season situation, would they make a different call? Probably.
Let me ask you this simple question. Bottom line here, do you feel better about this football team after tonight's football game than you did last week in the loss of Baltimore?
No, there's no question. I think the interior play from the defensive line, having Drew Brees, all exceptional.
It'll be a 35-yard attempt for the lead for Gostkowski, and he does it for New England. It comes with 14 seconds remaining. Let's remind everybody, as you discuss that, guys, that the Saints were 3-1 in the preseason last year and lost 2 heartbreakers to start the season where they rolled teams in the preseason. So what happens with the preseason doesn't exactly equate to the regular season. So Gostkowski hits it, and Brady is overwhelmed by it.
He's totally blown away, isn't he?
It's like, as long as there's not overtime, everything's copacetic.
Ready for the bus.
Yep, here's my helmet. Turn off those speakers. I'm done listening to this one.
But don't say that to Sean Payton, because you know how competitive he is. And he wants a 2-point
well,
win. He doesn't want a 2-point loss, as you said.
Yes, you want to win anytime you're competing in anything. But at the end of the day, what are you trying to do here? If the focus of winning this game, you're not pulling Drew Brees out after 3 series. But let's be honest, would that be the wisest decision looking for? Of course not. You're trying to evaluate talent to see where everybody fits on this roster. As Sunseri has some coaching points from Coach Payton sideline.
Well, if it's out of the end zone, they've got 14 seconds left. But it looks like Saunders, yes, he will get an opportunity. And no, he is going to put it down to the 20. And give the offense a couple of tries to get it into field goal range. Now, don't forget, they need help with the sideline because they're out of timeouts.
Right.
I'd like to kind of see what kind of arm Grayson's got for us here. I've seen him in training camp now throw a couple almost out of the building. I wouldn't mind taking a shot or two here, especially with a guy like Shontavious Jones at the top of your screen. Fastest of the receivers out there.
And we're going to get a timeout from New England, their first of the second half.
Bill Belichick thinking the same thing.
I don't think he's worried about the underneath routes right now.
He's not going to throw it that kind of distance, so you actually need 20 to 25 yards on an out to set up a tip drill. So you need to get it close to the midfield stripe to begin.
Yeah, I'm just saying stretch it a little bit. So let's go for a couple to stretch.
So this is the prevent, and let's see if the Saints can get it to the sideline. Murphy gets out of bounds. It took 6 seconds there. 8 seconds left.
You got time for maybe 2 more plays?
This one to the sideline again. Yeah. Same way. And then the deep ball.
As an offensive lineman, this is almost a tricky situation. You should have 5 on 3, right? At least 2 double teams, but you never want to get beat in this situation.
And that'll do it. Over the middle of the game is over. So Jones has it, and 2 to the Patriots, a 2-point victory. And I waited for this because I don't want to jinx it. No injuries. That's the key to any preseason game where everybody's healthy at the end of the night.
Welcome change from week 2 from week 1.
No doubt about that. And I was on the same page as you, Joel. I wanted to